Well, it is a very good evening and welcome to the Family Hour here at Church of Uganda Family TV. My name is Taya Wenje, your world's favorite host. Thank you very much for joining in, and as usual, we have a very great topic. Remember, this Friday we come to you under safe screens. We get to discuss more about safe screens, digital awareness, and all that. How can parents parent in this digital era? So our topic today is parental strategies for ensuring safe screens use at home. And to discuss this very great topic is Mrs. Tamar Ssembiro. We are also joined with Owen Mwesigye as usual, the face and mind behind safe screens. Every time we are here under safe screens, you will see his face. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me. Welcome the great team here, and definitely I'll give them an opportunity to share with us, to introduce themselves to us. Thank you. Please welcome them. Very happy to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi. Been looking forward. I know Owen will also say that we have been looking forward to having you here.
Yeah.
Say hello to the viewers and briefly let them know who this lady here is.
Sure. Good evening to you all, viewers. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are viewing us from. It's such a joy for me to be in this space to talk about this wonderful topic this afternoon. My name is Tamar Ssembiro. I'm married to one man, the most handsome man in the universe, Reverend Canon Engineer Paul Waswa, and currently we serve at Uganda Christian University. We've been married for 24 years and we are still counting. God has given us 4 wonderful children, and plus many that we mentor and look after.
Oh.
So glad to be here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, happy to have you. We are already excited. Oh, and the face behind this show.
Yeah.
Let's say hello to the viewers.
Hello, viewers. As usual, Owen Mwesigye. I'm a digital citizenship advocate. I'm passionate about how we embrace this digital world with grace, with resilience, and character. And more so, the younger generation that has no idea that there is a danger out there. There is also the older one that is lost, doesn't know where to start from. They're born in a different generation where everything was about books and storytelling with their grandfathers. But now stories are told from the screen. Family meetings are had on Zoom and WhatsApp videos. And it's a strange world that we need to navigate. But the whole idea is that we are not going back. So my passion is to make sure that at least if we can turn around and educate and empower everyone to thrive within it, because the dangers are the same. Like we normally say, the same reason why old age a parent wouldn't throw you in a market, the same reason we shouldn't throw our kids in the market that's online. So, and it's a process. And I'm glad we have you. We normally engage on different digital platforms, WhatsApp, when topics about social media come up, the Family Life Network, our parenting group, and the insights are point. And me, why I was really eager about her is that she has lived this. She embraced it early, lived it as a parent. She has a living testimony on how to raise kids and make them more resilient and embrace the digital world with grace and character. And that is what she brings on here. I'm eagerly waiting. I would have actually said, let me maybe once in a while pop in and ask how you're doing this. But I would have preempted my expectations.
Exactly.
But I'm here to listen how you've done it with your kids and also see what other parents out there can do. So just make sure that you keep on the TV.
Wow. Well, thank you very much. It's always a great pleasure to have you. And I'm always looking forward to this Friday where we talk about reality, because I think this is reality. Like the phones are there, the TV, and they're not going anywhere. So we have to learn how can we live with them. So anyways, straight to you here, Mrs. Ssembiro. Glad. Now, when we talk about gadgets and screen and all that, parents have different mindsets about this. Someone will say, I can't give my children phones, I can't, gadgets, no, 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 no. They will spoil them. Let me please take your mind on this.
Well, today as technology becomes more integrated in our daily lives, it's becoming more important for us to connect digitally and do many things online. We cannot afford to hold that mindset, say no, we cannot afford gadgets or anything, because actually smartphones are now becoming so common and so affordable and accessible by anybody and everybody, wherever it is. Yeah, so it is something I can say we are not going back on. You know, when COVID-19 came, actually, it brought that other dynamic of studying online. And so there was the pressure of we need to have gadgets. The child needs gadgets too, so that they are able to study online. The whole thing started there. And now we have gone so far, we cannot avoid to have gadgets and screens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. At home. So Tamar, as a parent, do your children have phones and gadgets? Do you allow them to access all these?
Oh yes, all our children, I must say, have gadgets. When did we introduce them to gadgets? I remember, which year was this? 2007, I think. Yes, when one of the children was in primary 6 and they needed to go for coaching. And none of us was there to take them every morning and back and forth. They needed to also learn to travel on their own, to become independent, to learn how to live in the real world. So what happened is I made up my mind and I bought a simple phone. You know the buttons, the one they call cartouch. So I bought a simple phone for communication. And so I let her have the phone for communication, which made life easier, so that each time she left home in the morning, we had a communication either through a text or a call to know that she's safe or she's back home safe. So that's where the journey of gadgets started for children.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But now as I speak, everyone in the house has a gadget. We have a 23-year-old, we have a 19-year-old, we have a 17-year-old, and a 15-year-old. And they all have gadgets.
That's interesting. So would you please share with us, how has it been? Share the experience of even the 15-year in the house having a phone?
Well, it has been an interesting journey, so many discoveries, so many lows and highs, of course, as life is. Yeah, as I told you earlier, I bought the button phone for communication. But of course, they have friends at church and in the community who own even more expensive phones. So at that point, there was that peer pressure that came in. Of course, she had this little phone and it was hers. But then her friends had more expensive phones. And so the pressure, the cartouch Bambi, and the pressure started building, and the peer pressure. And so what happened then is definitely I had to let my phone work for both of us, so that she is also on WhatsApp to communicate with her friends. Yeah, so we had a shared phone at that time. But again, as I said, more demand came, and she needed to keep communication with her friends. And so as time went by, she owned her own phone. And then, like I mentioned also about the COVID time, when the demand for gadgets came for each one to be in class, there was no way you could run away from having them have gadgets. And sharing gadgets sometimes was a little bit difficult, either because of work or we are not in the same space. And you cannot give the excuse of, we can't share the gadget, the children must study. So a few friends and siblings sent in gifts of tabs and phones. And so we distributed them so that each one is able to access class and also keep connected to friends here and there. But it has been interesting,
It's a whole journey of learning.
It's a whole journey of learning, and it has been an interesting experience. So as time went on, I realized everybody was on their phone all the time, okay? And so we had to set some rules, some guidelines, okay? For example, when we are at home and it is meal time and people are glued on the phone, you cannot come to the table and you're having food and then mommy has a phone, daddy has a phone, and then I found it strange.
Definitely it is, yeah.
So what happens is when you come to the table, we have a space where you put your gadget, and then we can share a meaningful meal or family time together. Okay? Of course, even prayer time, family prayer time, when you are having a prayer time, you need to respect the presence of God.
Definitely,
so that's another time that we had to set rules and say, when we are together, praying together, put your gadget away. So it has been a journey, like
Definitely.
I said. It didn't
I
come,
can imagine.
obviously.
I can only imagine. Yes.
Yeah. So, of course, monitoring what they are watching or using their gadgets for sometimes becomes difficult because we have what we call passwords. I mean, you can't keep running after the children. What is your password? Sometimes it's difficult for me anyway. I tried and I could not keep up the speed. So I had to let some space for their privacy. But then one of the things that has helped is having discussion, open discussions, talk about things, what are you watching, but also monitoring their behavior helps a lot. You can easily realize that there's something going wrong somewhere, and it could be an effect of screen time or whatever. So one of the things I have enjoyed is the open discussion with the children. Sometimes we have one-on-one. I have had that over the years, having one-on-one with each child to talk and understand them and know what is happening. Or sometimes we sit together and maybe we are having game time and some of the things chip in our discussion and we talk and it's interesting. So the best thing is to have that open discussion to understand what's going on, to know what is happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, I love it. I will take it up from you, Owen, because after hearing her, I would love to have a mind from you.
No, very interesting and very, I would say I'm impressed.
Very.
But also, I quickly pick out the fact that she is a mother who has time for her kids. And it's very intentional.
It is.
Now, that is her strength. But there is a Claire out there who has never thought about having this quality time.
I know.
So when you talk about observing on the effects of maybe digital addiction or what, she can easily pull out because she has a quality time. Even when talks of playing physical games, she has time for that. Now, there is a young mother out there, all her work is good to a bank job or somewhere. It becomes very, very difficult. But I love the fact that she did not run away from the digital age. She embraced the digital age, but also empowered herself to be ready for it and instill the values to the children. And now, to me, that becomes the Bible guiding principle: train your child in the way that they should live, so they might not part ways when they grow old. And every time I'm reminded of that in our digital citizenship concept, what comes into my mind is training.
Yeah.
How do you train? And also, at the end of training, what are you supposed to do? You train through observation. You do things and kids look at you and they're like, I want to be like dad in this way. I want to be like my mom in this way. You train by talking, by teaching. Teachers teach by bringing reading things that you know, you empower yourselves. Because for you to be a trainer also, you must be having something that is concrete evidence or information that you must pass out. Now, also on the other side, I look at you having the ability to connect with the person you're training. And in this case, is a child. Now, if that connection is not there, if you're a parent and you haven't been intentional at creating the connection with your parent, they will never be free about these things. I'll give an example. When you go for these outreaches, we go for as Church of Uganda Family TV, to interact with young children in different schools on how they're interacting with these devices. 8 out of 10 tell you they do not want their parents to know what they watch on these platforms. Meaning, most probably, if you're the father that comes only on Sunday and that's only you have like 1 hour to talk to your child before soccer starts, they will not open up and tell you I've encountered this. And that creates a whole gap that for you who is mandated to train your child, you don't have first, you haven't created time to train, you haven't put enough resources to equip yourself with the risks that comes with the digital age, meaning you're not qualified to train actually in this very age. Then that leaves that we've also gone that we've reached at a point where the one who is supposed to train is being trained. Now, you find that you're struggling with your WhatsApp, and all you can think of is run to your 8-year-old kid. What's wrong with my phone? You get, and as they get to teenage life and they've been used, they're curious. They come to dig into these devices and they know things that you don't have an idea about. Then the other bit that comes in that very Proverbs 22:6 is that it brings on to the part that when they grow up, ideally, what most of us are, and why I love her approach, she'd not just withdraw everything with no reasons and that. She simply embraced what is happening and set rules to guide. And also create a time to talk to the kids and mold them into resilient digital citizens. Now, in that is that at the end of training, you're supposed to groom this young mind into a resilient mind that can embrace all this danger or harm that comes before the screens. Because I look at a generation where we have parents that believe my child, even if I give a smartphone to them, they won't spend more than 2 hours on YouTube or TikTok. Because to us, we believe in our family, 2 hours is too much for someone below 8 or below whatever rules you put up. I want to believe that a parent grooms a child to know that I will give you a laptop with internet, but if the purpose was to do research for your homework, you will do the research. When it's done, you put the laptop aside. I want to believe that we have the capacity to train these young children, that when we've said we have tech-free zones in our home or screen-free zones in our home, bedrooms, eating for us, dining tables, prayer rooms, visiting places, family meetings, our kids will understand that actually our home, this is the right thing to do. I want to bring tablets in here. I want to cry for it. I won't even think about it. I want to believe that we have the capacity as parents to train our kids in that way. Now, the danger is that most of the parents out there don't have an idea that there is danger out there. That is one. Two, they are clueless on what is happening in the digital world. I will just get some few facts from a report that was done by UCC. Let me get just a few, and I will highlight them. So in 2022, and that was the epic of COVID, UCC did a survey. It called it the Ugandan Children's Online Survey. And in this survey, it was looking at understanding how is the Ugandan child affected by the transition and the demands that were coming with the lockdown. And because most of the parents that bought new phones, or tablets or laptops, they will say that they bought them during the COVID time. But ideally, those are 2 years of mind change, culture shift, behavior shift. that brings people closer to the devices. Even as parents, you have a whole day of looking at your wife and you have no idea. Do I still need to look at my wife? So the only thing is you look at your phone, what is happening? Do we have more 21 days? Things like that. So, so it comes to the fact that the physical, because we're not used to the physical interaction that we are forced into. Yeah. So ideally, we had to look for a way to get all this done. So the UCC has done a step towards being part of this. And recently they actually launched a campaign where they're even calling upon raising awareness of the digital danger for the children. I've seen it on their social platforms. So one of the things that they indicated, for example, they say that only 9.1% of parents have thought of blocking or using filters on internet.
1%?
9.1.
9.1, okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Meaning when they use internet or do research, they don't mind about what kind of filters can we put to safeguard what can come up. Then they also go back to say that only 15.7% of parents indicate that they used parental controls or means of keeping track of apps that keeps. Not every phone has a parental control. For most Android, there's Google Family Link. For Apple, it's Screen Time. And all these apps come with controls that you can use. And I will go through that later in time. Then the other fact that came up is say that that only 2 out of 10 parents set rules in their homes on how to use these devices. She talked about the rules. She realized that, yes, I've given these devices, but I have to put some guidelines. But she said the rules. But UCC found out that 2 out of 10 have set up rules on how to use these in their homes.
2 out of 10.
2 out of 10. And the other alarming bit is that 9 in every 10 parents or guardians did not know or have any clue on the danger that comes with these screens and internet use. Meaning they operate in a self-drive mode of all is well. Have it all, whichever you find, whether you spend the whole day, that's why we don't filter the cartoons our kids watch. We are comfortable watching a movie with PG-18 with our kids there watching. Yes, it has clearly sex, nudity, violence, all is put there. But we don't mind on that danger. So our consciousness hasn't come to the point of realizing the danger that comes with that. One last one says that regarding whether the parents could help their children cope with things that bother them. Remember what she said? Being alert to see the red flags, losing sleep, impulsive reaction when we withdraw these devices. The other bit is isolation. Like your kid chooses to be in, other kids are playing and it's Christmas time. But your kid is just in their corner and with their phone and the tablet, and you think, maybe my kid is an introvert. Kids, yes, they are, but even an introvert would love to go and play with torn papers somewhere. But for them, all the time is phone. Those are symptoms of that your kid is getting. But they say only 20.7% answered with certainty that they can help their kids navigate the digital era. Where does that leave the 80%? Clueless on how to help kids when they've crossed the border of digital addiction and screen time. So these are facts that are Ugandan. Usually, often we talk about America, US, but these are things that come in this report. I've read that report over and over, and every time I look at it, I ask the parent who is the first gatekeeper to protecting these kids. They are clueless. If even those who know, they don't look at it as a risk that needs urgent attention. Over the past weeks, we've talked about all these risks: age-inappropriate content, cyberbullying, security, like your personal data being released. Sometimes you bring bank, they don't have security, but literally, you use your phone to access your bank account. But you give it to your kid for 4 hours, they are interacting with almost everything that pops up out. And then you come and blame a bank that your money is being stolen because you've lost information.
They're tapping literally everywhere,
Then there are many other things that we've looked into. We've talked about sexual harassment. There are many things that are happening online, and we are not being proactive. So to me, it goes back to understanding that our mandate as parents, as the first rule is to train our kids. And when you train a kid, you must equip them to face the world as it is. The world now is digital. So saying that know this, know that, without explanation, without equipping the logic reasons, might not help. I'll give an example of a kid who said, for example, me when I go home, do you use your phone? I say, yes, I access my father's phone. And he says, you watch only this movie on YouTube. I go on YouTube for 30 minutes, it's done. Before you see, what he has been watching is what pops up, and I also learn and go there and watch. So the question is, if you're the parent that is not conscious on what you watch, and you're also sharing your device with these kids, you're not being responsible device sharing. You know that I'm a parent, there's this phone, that maybe this phone is for kids, and rules, you've set it up to make sure that only what you want the kids access can be accessed. And you've watched, you're an addict of adult content, and you put it out there. When a kid cries, you're like, how? And by the way, like I say usually, they don't know. They're ignorant. Most parents out there, you're ignorant on how devices work. So the device has a full profile. It knows you better than you know it.
True.
So whatever you watch, it captures. Whatever you type every day, it captures. And that's what it feeds your child every time you share it. So there is a lot that comes back to what Proverbs tells us in 22:6. Train. We must equip ourselves to be trainers in the digital age. Once we've done that, we relay that information and skills back to our children. So that when they've grown up to a level where you have not to be worried about access of internet, like she's not worried about her 15-year-old having a phone, because she knows she has done her part in training, and she's still doing it. You get? Now, to me, that's where the gap is. That most of us have invested monies, millions in buying phones. You told me of your friend whose kid has an iPhone, the latest iPhone, and the kid is around iPhone 16 at around 8 years. And every day you're loading data and phone and all that. The question is that mind ready for that? So, to me, is that we need to bring a gap. Self-awareness on the digital age and the risks that are in, and how to help our children thrive. Secondly, you as a parent understand that at the end of training, the purpose of training is empowering. So withdrawing without without reasons, punishing and kids for aging approval without reasons doesn't help. Because at the end of the day,
Owen, I'll cut you short. You know, I'm always looking forward to this Friday because it's a lot to learn. But dear viewer, please let's take a quick break. This show returns in a bit. Please don't change the station.
Yeah.
There you go.